Perfect. I'll now rewrite the entire story into a brand new, fully original, completely exclusive 1,500-word YouTube voice-over, keeping chi khung cảm xúc và cấu trúc 3 hồi. Nhưng mỗi tên hãng bay sân bay nhân vật ký ức bối cảnh đều được thay đổi 100% để bảo đảm độc quyền. Văn phòng Mỹ mộc mặc kệ chuyển đổi thật có hài, có cay, có bùng nổ, liền mạch không xuống dòng thừa dùng dầu phay gạch ngang và dầu 3 chấm, 0 chấm quá dày đặc. Dưới đây là kịch bản hoàn chỉnh 150 tủ. Full, 1,500-word voiceover script, original professional cinematics. It started with a sentence that sliced right through the morning like a paper cut you don't see coming small, but somehow sharp enough to sting. "Move to the row you belong in," the man said loud enough for half the plane to hear, and the way he said it, with that practiced confidence that Sunday morning church purity swagger, you'd think he was reciting airport law rather than shoving someone down a social ladder only he believed existed. My name is Wachat Marcus Hale, and that morning I was standing at gate B14 in Phoenix Skyport holding a boarding pass for seat 2A on Canyon West Airline, sipping terrible airport coffee and minding my own business. And yeah, I heard it. Everyone did. Folks froze like someone hit pause on life. The guy shouting his name was Bradley Kelton, mid-50s Navy suit haircut that screamed, "I've demanded to speak to managers my whole life," and an energy that filled the cabin even before he opened his mouth. The target of his command was a quiet young man barely pushing 30, holding a laptop bag and wearing worn-out sneakers. His name, I'd later learn, was Eli Parker, a software analyst heading to Denver for a conference. He was sitting in the seat printed on his ticket. He wasn't doing anything wrong. He wasn't even looking up, just scrolling through something on his iPad, trying to ignore Bradley's breath hitting him like waves. "I said that's my seat," Bradley barked, waving his own boarding pass like a sheriff's badge. Premium seats are for frequent flyers, not people who sneak upgrades. The pause after not held a whole lifetime of assumptions. Now I've spent my life being underestimated, pushed around, talked down to. Grew up in a neighborhood where kids got told they'd be lucky to stay out of trouble. Adults got asked if they work around here, and opportunity was a rumor you heard about but never quite met. So when I heard Bradley's tone, felt that second-hand sting. Something old inside me shifted, something tired. Before I could say anything, the flight attendant walked over, plastering a smile on her face like tape holding up a broken sign. Claire Dawson. Crisp, uniform-polished hair bun, voice sweet enough to drizzle on pancakes. "Hi, folks. Let's keep things smooth today," she said, glancing at both boarding passes. Her smile flickered when she saw the assignments. Eli was in 2A. Bradley was in 5C, clear as day. But then she said the sentence I've heard way too many times in way too many places. "Sir," she told Eli, "would you mind moving to row 9 for us just to make everything easier?" Easier for who, exactly? Eli blinked up at her, confused but polite. "Is something wrong with my ticket?" No, she said quickly. "It's just that Mr. Kelton is one of our platinum guests and he prefers the window up front." Bradley crossed his arms like he just won a custody battle. The cabin was quiet, that tight-held breath. Kind of quiet, the kind where you feel everyone listening while pretending they aren't. I could feel my pulse climbing, that slow burn of frustration rising like heat from asphalt. Eli stood up, no complaints, no attitude. Just this soft sigh that felt like defeat in human form. The kind of sigh you make only after years of being told to go with the flow, even when the flow is washing you away. He grabbed his bag and walked toward row 9, and as he passed, Bradley settled into 2A like he was taking his rightful place on a throne he built himself. That could have been the end. Just another day, another moment of quiet indignity swallowed because speaking up feels like shouting into the wind. But that day, things didn't slide like they usually do. See, what nobody knew, including me, was that Eli Parker wasn't just some tech analyst. He was the lead developer and majority shareholder of a startup Canyon West Airlines had been negotiating to acquire. A deal worth $420 million, scheduled to finalize the next morning. The airline wanted his software to overhaul their booking system. They needed him more than he needed them, and they had just shoved him into row 9 because someone louder wanted his spot. You feel that shift, that little click of karma warming up in the background. About 10 minutes into boarding, I watched Eli take out his phone, hesitate, then tap a contact labeled Maeve, Legal. His voice was calm, almost too calm. Maeve, cancel everything he said. All negotiations, all signatures. The deal's dead. I'll explain later. I swear the cabin tilted when he said it. Not physically, but energetically. Like the universe leaned in. Meanwhile, Claire kept fussing over Bradley, offering sparkling water and that forced smile, hoping to keep her important passenger happy. But if she had looked back toward row 9, if she had actually looked at Eli, she would have seen the moment a single quiet person decided to let the world feel the weight of its own choices. About 5 rows behind me, a middle-aged woman named Tara was already filming. Another passenger opened TikTok Live. Someone else whispered, "This is discrimination," under their breath. It was all being recorded, all being shared, all rolling downhill like a snowball with something heavy stuck inside it. Then came the twist that made the whole situation crack open. The pilot. Captain Adrian Wolfe summoned Claire to the cockpit. Minutes later, she returned pale as printer paper. She approached Eli's row like she was walking toward her report card. "Mr. Parker," she said shakily, "the captain would like to invite you back to premium, and offers his apologies." Eli didn't say a word, just looked at her waiting, and Claire, realizing her script wouldn't save her, whispered the truth, "I didn't know who you were." And he finally spoke quiet but sharp enough to cut, "But you knew who he was." That line, that hit the whole cabin like turbulence. Bradley stood up indignant. "Look, if I'd known he was someone important, I wouldn't have." Eli turned cold but calm. "So my worth depends on what I own, not who I am." Bradley opened and closed his mouth like a goldfish cracker. No sound came out. Passengers were recording from every angle, whispers filling the cabin like wind through leaves. The energy had shifted, and everyone knew something irreversible had just broken loose. Then Eli said something I swear I'll remember until the day I die. "I've spent my whole life being treated like background noise. Today, I get to decide who hears the echo." And that was it. That was the moment everything tipped. When we landed in Denver, reporters were waiting. Someone inside the airline had leaked the story, and social media had turned what happened into a wildfire of outrage. Canyon West's stock was already dipping. Executives were scrambling. The deal cancellation hit headlines in minutes, and Bradley reporters pinned him like a butterfly in a display case. He tried to defend himself, but couldn't outrun his own words caught on video. "People like you," he'd said. "Not meant for that seat." Sentences that sound small but weigh thousands of pounds. Claire lost her job within 48 hours. The airline issued a desperate apology. The CEO offered Eli anything he wanted. A public statement, free flights, first-class compensation. Anything to stop the financial bleed. Eli refused all of it. Instead, he released a single statement. "Dignity isn't negotiable. If an airline can't protect it, they don't deserve my technology." That quote went everywhere, billboards, news tickers, college lectures. But that's not the best part. Months later, Eli launched a foundation giving grants to young developers from underrepresented backgrounds who wanted to break into tech but didn't have the connections. "Everyone deserves a seat at the table," he said, "even if someone else tries to take it." And Bradley. Last, I heard his company quietly removed him from all leadership roles. Turns out, people don't trust someone who demands upgrades they didn't earn. Now, here's the messy, uncomfortable comment section exploding part. Was it right for a single act of discrimination to destroy an entire $420 million deal? Should someone lose their job for one terrible decision made in a moment of bias? Should the internet be judge, jury, and executioner? Or is this exactly what accountability looks like in a world where some folks get away with too much for too long? I'll let you decide.